The Truth Girls.
Hi everyone. The truth movement has been subjected to a major psyop. So today I would like to discuss the anatomy of this psyop and explain how the powers that be have succeeded in brainwashing people and pretty much destroying the truth movement. Okay, I made a little graph visual here on my board. This is the anatomy right here. Okay, so let's talk about cognitive infiltration strategy. Let's go back to where this all started with Cass Sunstein. You may have heard of Cass Sunstein, and he told you they were going to do this. Maybe you forgot, but they did do it, and this is how they did it. Cass Sunstein, in case you don't know who he is an American legal scholar, particularly in the area of constitutional law. He was also the administrator of the White House Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs under the Obama administration. In 2008, he published a paper called Conspiracy Theories, which basically posed the question of what to do about conspiracy theorists. He said various policy dilemmas, such as the question whether it is better for the government to rebut conspiracy theories or to ignore them, are explored in this light. This paper came more into the public eye in 2012 after Cass Sunstein gave a lecture at NYU Law School and was later confronted by Luke Radowski on the contents of this paper, which included strategies for cognitive infiltration of conspiracy groups. Yes, Sunstein had a plan for how the government could infiltrate the truth movement, and this plan included flooding the internet with disinformation by, number one, infiltrating chat rooms and the internet, and two, spreading information that would cast doubt on truthers' claims. Now, how were they going to do this? I guess they would have two options. A, they could make a really good case for the official story, or B, they could destroy the credibility of the alternative side. I say they went for option B. How to destroy credibility. Number one, insert some really out there claims that some people might actually believe. There were no planes on 9/11. It was all CGI. And then the next thing that came after that was the idea that there were crisis actors being used. And you know, the first time that this came up was in connection with 9/11. There was a guy who said that many people who supposedly were in 9/11 were not really there, and that they were actually hired actors, and that he had proof of this because he saw that they looked like other people who were actually actors. Okay, from the 9/11 crisis actors, this extended to actors being used on the news. Now, I know that the news sometimes lies for the purposes of war propaganda, but this was as in hiring actors to fake being victims of things like home invasions or kidnappings. They were all just faking. This served the purpose of discrediting the mainstream news. Okay, now that you're feeling nice and paranoid about the mainstream news, let's start discrediting the alternative news. Enter the idea that actors or celebrities are doubles of each other or of people in the alternative media. And this served to discredit bloggers. I'm talking here about the claims such as the one even that involved me, which was that I am actually not only Sarah Palin, but also Tina Fey. Like, I am three people, or I play the role of three people, which obviously being myself I know is not true, so this kind of tipped me off. This kind of thing gained a lot of popularity and served to really smear a lot of people in the alternative media, especially people who are really talking truth. I've said it once and I'll say it a million times. I'm not Sarah Palin. But thanks for thinking I could be Miss Alaska. Okay, from there we move to actors faking disasters. As in, now when some disaster happens somewhere, whether it's man-made or natural, people think that nobody got hurt, they were all just faking. And what this actually does is serves to discredit yourself, because there are many witnesses to these events, and it makes the people who say it never happened just look completely crazy. So you see it moved from casting doubt on the news to casting doubt on the alternative media to casting doubt on you and your own credibility. The people who are actually relaying this information. Now they're under suspicion. And then it moved to hoax. Everything is a hoax. It never happened. As in, nothing ever happened. Nothing. Nothing happened. It was just a big show. Now you might as well go get your tinfoil hat because you have been labeled as Crazy. And from there, the descent was steep, straight down into the earth is flat. Now, you have gone back to the Middle Ages. Now, keep in mind that they did this on purpose, and not all the people who believe these things are actually stupid. In fact, my husband has believed a lot of it, and I even myself at times have believed some of it. Because this was introduced very slowly, people slowly adjusted to their new idea of what reality is. But this reality was promoted probably by the agents who had infiltrated the internet with the goal of totally destroying the credibility of the alternative side, as Cass Sunstein had said. Okay, this was the approach taken for the truther crowd, but they had strategies for the mainstream non-truther crowd as well, for them to lose confidence in the alternative media. So as the truthers were going for all these hoax articles that things never really happened, for the mainstream and the internet in general, there was a proliferation of hoax news sites. I heard 90% of the chicken in America is rat meat from China. I'm talking about hoax news sites which publish completely fake articles, but they're articles that aren't particularly funny. It's like they're just publishing straight up lies, but I guess their disclaimer is that all we do is lie, so don't believe anything we read. However, a lot of people can't tell which sites are telling lies, which sites are telling truth. So what happens is people end up reposting them on their own blogs and websites, and people start sharing this on Facebook. So what they have done is they have succeeded in their strategy to discredit, destroy, and cause a loss of interest. I don't know what to believe anymore. Why bother? I think I'm gonna go do some scrapbooking. So I'm pretty sure that this is the anatomy of their cognitive infiltration strategy, Psyop, that they have used. Information that will cast doubt on truthers' claims, and isn't that exactly what they've done? Not that they came out and said, oh, well, you know, let's push the official story more until people believe it. No. They went completely through the back door. They've made everyone look totally nuts, and nobody believes it. And you know, this was really, really successful for what it was. I mean, these people are professionals. They know what they're doing. Dude, I got infiltrated. I've never felt so violated in my life. And this is why I say, keep an open mind, but not so open that your brain falls out. So what do we do now? You know, you've got to be careful. Don't jump on the bandwagon. And at the same time, you know, don't give up. I mean, people have woken up a lot about things like big pharma, GMOs, the vaccine industry, the way the government works, the way propaganda techniques and cognitive infiltration works. We've made a lot of progress. We're a lot less naive than we used to be. And what are we going to do with that information? Well, hopefully not descend into deep paranoia, but somehow make the world a better place. Bring the troops home, say no to GMO, and buy local. And for goodness sake, say no to drugs. So let me know what you think. Thanks for giving me a thumbs up. Thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.